G. All right. Out of 5,000 G. All right. It's Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday and we're making hamburgers. All right, we have another overcast day. Starting out in the city of Irvine. Putting the bike through the ringer. It's been a great bike so far, but you know, no matter what I do, the bike is just getting worn out. So I just got done adjusting the back brake, so it's not rubbing anymore. I had right here I'll just call it a stem that holds the handlebars. It's that big long stem that makes it look like it's a scooter. There's a pin that holds the hinge in, and I was inspecting my bike today for any loose hardware. And that's not a spot I would normally check. But I just happened to check it, and there's a pin that goes through the hinge that was very loose. So it's like I forget the name. It's like what we would call, like on skateboards, we used to call them sex bolts. But that's not really what I don't think that's really what it's called. So it's got a pin that goes through with a female thread on it, and that goes through the hinge, and then the male screw goes internally into the female thread, and that holds that hinge together. Well, on the female side, it was out like by probably 6 millimeters. So I tightened that up, and I'd already checked this hinge was feeling a little bit loose, but I attributed it to the actual clamping mechanism, which was the issue the last time this felt loose. So just by looking at that is how I ran into this. So it's just important for us to always be looking at these bikes, and really just so I check anything that could cause a catastrophic, falling apart of the bike. These people are going to be trapped up in here right now. Come on. You are trapped. Come on. Wow. Anyway, so it's about 4:30. It's really chilly, overcast. So we're filming. So I talked about it in this morning's video, but I don't know if I'm going to publish this morning's video. I might just publish this one tomorrow. More than likely I will, depending on how this ride goes. So I adjusted the brake, but it's definitely, what are you looking at? Crazy fool. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing around. But it doesn't feel like it's, so before I adjusted it, it was stopping just fine. It was just rubbing. Now I adjusted it. It's not rubbing. It's just not stopping right. I'm gonna have to spend some time tomorrow and clean these brakes, these brake pads. Every time I have to clean the brake pads, I don't know if it's the dust. I think it's the dust that comes off the brake. Even though I'm careful, I get a headache. Or maybe it's just my, maybe it's just because I don't like working on stuff. But today, as I was starting to say, today we're doing something a little different. So I usually record in 4K, but when it's overcast and we're in low light situations, there's not really any point in recording in 4K 30 frames. So right now we're recording in 2K and 30 frames, and the reason why that's better is because we can use low light enhancement with ultra wide view, whereas if you're in 4K, you've got to just use, and you can use Rocksteady Plus. So you probably heard me talk about my normal low light settings are 4K 30 frames Rocksteady for stabilization, but not Rocksteady Plus, and wide view instead of ultra wide view. So I prefer ultra wide view. And in a low light situation, you guys aren't going to notice any difference in the resolution, because I'm not doing anything where I'm going to be zooming in on anything, or during editing, or I'm not going to be doing anything, so except for the color and the light. So I'm pretty, and what it also does is I was almost going to do 1080p, but I felt like that might be a little too extreme. So we're going to do the 2K, see what it turns out like. So it's a little bit of experiment. Another thing is it cuts down on the processing time. So after we get done editing and we transfer these videos over to the computer, that's going to take not as long, because you're processing about half the amount of information. So if we were processing like a 1 hour video from your video editing software back to your computer, like could take, I don't know how long it could take. It varies. So that varies. That depends on really on your network setting. It could take 15 minutes or it could take over an hour. But with 4K, it's going to take a long time. Let's say an hour at least to get your computer or your video from your computer to your hard drive or your cloud or wherever you store your video. And then when you put it onto YouTube, if it's a 1 hour video, so you wait the hour, it gets on your computer, and then you upload it to YouTube. So 1 hour video is going to take, in 4K 30 frames, it's going to take at least 2 hours and 15 minutes or longer just to get over on YouTube. So I usually do that when I go to bed. With a 2K video, it's going to probably take about an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes, which is a little faster. So that would give me more opportunities to edit more footage if I needed to, or whatever. I could start it, you know, if I got the video done at 8 at night, I could work on it at 9:30. Maybe have time to do some shorts. I get a certain amount of minutes to make AI shorts. And I've already used all those credits on my last couple of videos, those minutes, and they don't re-up until the end of the month. So if I make any shorts, I'm gonna have to make them myself. So it makes a huge difference when you make these shorts, and people seem to want to watch. So that's more, to me, shorts are an advertisement, and people seem more apt to watch the shorts that I make with AI because I think because of the way it's worded. Like, I'm not on the shorts, I'm not picking these. Like, you'll be able to tell the ones that I make because the shorts I make are just like, you can tell it's me that's done it just by the way that it's been edited, and the section that I pick is usually very specific, and it's based on like what you're gonna see, versus with AI they're gonna pick out something that you're gonna say. and so it automatically puts, you know, the words that I'm speaking on the short. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is, since I'm out of minutes, I get a lot more views on my shorts, a lot better advertising. We'll just say I get a lot better advertising with my shorts than with the AI ones than the ones I create myself, and just in general. And I get more subscribers. And I'm not like die-hard YouTube guy. Like, I'm not putting, I mean, I definitely want to get to that 1,000 subscriber milestone, but I'm not like gonna go outside of I'm not gonna go that far out of the way to try to like get views, and I'm trying to be authentic, and I'm fitting it into my schedule, and I'm doing the YouTube stuff when I feel like doing it, not when I'm not doing it in vain. I'm not doing it when I don't feel like doing it. Really dark right now. It's cold, dark and cold. So let's go through the neighborhood. Just do a pretty standard video because I've got to get home and I've got to get home and barbecue some hamburgers. What's up, man? What's up? Yeah, like I talked about before, where I grew up, I still need to share like my, where I grew up as a teenager. I lived in some apartments in a downtown area of this little city called Porterville. And where I lived was just a very, what kids would say these days, very turned up, active area, like bad. And if you've been watching the channel a while, you've likely heard me talk about it before, but you know, there's a lot of drug activity, gang activity, you know, back in the 90s. I was right up in the middle of it, so seeing people with mental health in the middle of a mental health crisis was a daily thing. I was very used to it, and back then people were into meth, crack, and heroin, and my neighborhood had all that. All that. So my apartments, there was a lot of the crack, cocaine type of people. Well, and we also had a family of junkies that lived upstairs as well, a dealer that lived upstairs from me, and users in 3 sets of apartments up on the 2nd floor, you know. And then across this canal from where I lived, there was a canal that ran right next to the parking lot of where I lived, was where most of the heroin type of people were. And it was just a pretty normal thing. That's why going through a lot of these areas, it definitely reminds me of home. Reminds me of not that Santa Ana's bad. I mean, I think Santa Ana's great, but in Santa Ana, we go through more neighborhoods that are closer to what I'm familiar with. So when I see some of the type of people like we just passed on the bike path or whatever, it doesn't really. It was pretty shocking, the mass amounts of people when I first started making this ride. When they used to congregate on South Main and in the alleys, it was a little shocking. I did have some videos from last year that were where I would count the homeless people, and I'm sure, I think it's Malakan, I don't know if Malakan still watches the channel, but he can attest to this. I think he was one of the ones that brought up how many people I counted, because I had lost count on the ride. I counted I know it was over 80 people. I've done it twice. So leaving where I normally leave in the morning on Santiago Creek, and then going through Hart Park and Santiago Park to up Main Street, South Main, kind of that standard route that I hit quite often still. Over 80 homeless people, or maybe not homeless, but definitely what we would call, street types. Oh, we didn't make it. Oh, that guy's got a nice mountain bike. I don't know what kind of bike that is. I'd really like to get a mountain bike. I watched a lot of mountain bike videos this weekend. So, I'm not going to go into what's going on in the world of UFOs, UAPs, non-human intelligence. I'll keep that off the channel. But if anybody's interested in that subject matter, a video came out this morning from News Nation. Chris Cuomo talks to two people from Skywatcher, Jake Barber and a guy with the last name of Fowler. So that's give you a little perspective on the UAP subject and kind of an idea of what's going on. And then also, if you watch, Jeremy Corbell put out and George Knapp put out the second part of their interview with a whistleblower from the intelligence, one of the intelligence agencies. He was employed by the Pentagon. So his name's Michael Brown, I believe. So, I think that it's like, I think it's important. I think it's important to, whether you believe or you don't, like, I'm in that category. I don't believe, and I do believe. Like, I believe something's going on. I think it's still good because you have to know. I mean, I feel like you have to know about, people need to know about this kind of stuff, regardless of what's going on. Like, whether it's blue being us, whether it's red being an adversary, or it's the other category, which is exactly what it is, the other category, which nobody knows what it is. And whatever percentage that is, it's still good to be aware of those kinds of things. I mean, I think the people that don't take it seriously and don't pay attention, it's possible, there's going to be some ontological shock in their lives in the next few years. I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, so we're on Roussel, one of my favorite Santa Ana neighborhoods, riding adjacent to the Pacific Electric Trail. And like I said, this is just going to be a pretty standard commute. The streets that I'm slowing down on have a yield cross street. So this one has a stop sign, but a few of these have the yield signs. That's why I'm slowing down. Hi. The guy didn't look like he was from California. He looked a little different. All right. Doing a little alley cruise on the way into downtown. Might as well, right? Man, it's cold. So yesterday on my ride home, I had to stop and put my other jacket on, and then even my head covering, Got Uncle Jesse. So we're now gonna transfer over to from Cypress. So this is Cypress, which is gonna turn into Bush Street, and maybe we'll take Bush Street down to 17th, and then go 17th to Santiago, and then we'll just hit the Santiago Creek Trail for expediency. We've gone 6.2 miles. The bike has a total of 3,750 mile, 52 miles. We've been riding for 24 minutes. Let's check our text messages real quick. So what's cool is, like, with kids, so yeah, it's a little bit of work, right? To barbecue, you know, you work all day and then ride your bike to work, ride your bike back, get home kind of late, and then you got a barbecue, and then, you know, by the time you start chilling, it's already getting late, you know. But it's very rewarding, and for me, so as a parent, there's nothing more rewarding to me with 3 kids that are particularly picky, which I think most kids are. Oh shit, we gotta hurry. When they request something, like they requested barbecued hamburgers, so like I'm on it, you know, because I know it's a joy to see my kids eat something that they like, which sounds strange, but it is. That's just the way it is. When I see my kids eat all their food and enjoy it, it just makes me happy. Is my suspension locked? No, it just feels that way. Aventado's Performance. Right, so stay sick. That's what that license plate says. Stay sick, bro. Stay sick, bro. Stay well. I'm gonna get that customized plate. Stay well. Stay healthy. That stay sick car is making a lot of noise. I think they're dragging something. It looks clear. This guy's just cruising in the middle of the road. Look at him. So, song of the day. We need a song of the day is Wild World by Cat Stevens. Those brakes sound great. I'm glad I adjusted them. I got a sprinkle in my eyeball, so I don't know what that means, if it's actually gonna start raining. I feel like my front, I think somebody tightened up my front suspension. Something feels, yeah, people see this front shock and like can't resist. I knew something felt weird. can't resist messing with it. Knob turners. All right, so we are to 17th Street. Yeah, that still didn't help. Let's jump out in the road. We'll just go into this turn lane. Might as well. Stay sick, homie. This sidewalk will get people popping out very likely. So we gotta take it easy, go into sidewalk mode, be conscientious, be yielding, stay on posted. Sleepy time. I don't want these people to stop for me because it's way too dangerous for them to stop for me and get in a collision with all the cars behind them. So it's better just let them turn, and then I can jump out there. It's better for everybody. Do we want to pass? Yeah, we're going to pass this guy. Yeah, so I talked about it this morning, but I don't think that video is going to get published. And I don't think yesterday's ride home will get published either. I might put them on the other channel. I haven't put anything on that channel in a while. But as I spoke about earlier, the processing time is the issue. Yeah, I can only do one video at a time, so, and I don't have a lot of extra time, so, so e-cells, as somebody informed me, and then I followed up and checked some YouTube channels. E-cells, which is the bike that I wanted to get, is no longer in business. I don't know if they filed bankruptcy or exactly what happened. I think it was something like that. But he just didn't feel like he had the ability to provide the type of customer experience that he wanted to provide. So I don't know if that's lead time for parts from China. Obviously the tariffs is probably why, but I'm sure it had to do with lead time also of parts. Like, how long is it going to take to get stuff through customs and stuff like that? I don't know if that's what it is, but I can imagine that's part of it, you know. And he's just a one dude, you know. It's not like a super, I think they started in 2023, something like that. But anyway, prior to my interest in the e-cells bikes, I was interested in the wired bike company. So that was the first bike that I really wanted to get, but I didn't have any means to get that bike at the time, which was the Wired Freedom, which was a 60 volt, I believe a 1500 watt motor that peaked at 3000 watts. And since then, there's been a second version of that bike that's come out. And along with that bike, they had another bike called the Wired Cruiser. So I was watching this e-bike review channel that I just stumbled upon in the last couple of weeks, called the Bike Cave, which is pretty decent. It's pretty repetitive, like most of the review channels, but it has to be because people want to see that comparison on the same terrain. I personally don't think it's necessary. I think that I don't think you have to like review the bike in the same spot every time to see how each individual bike performs on those obstacles in that terrain. That's just me though. I think the way accurate reviews would be done by somebody like me who's commuting and actually putting a ton of miles on the bike. That's what I want to know. Okay, yeah, the bike was cool for the first 15 miles, but was it cool at 3,000? Well, obviously I'm not going to put that many miles on a bike that I review, but I'll put 500 miles in a month easy. So, well, not easy, it'll be about that. Anyway, so on the Bike Cave, he does a review. I think the video was from 3 weeks ago. So the Wired Cruiser. So if you get a chance, watch that video. That's the bike I think I want. So you guys are familiar with the type of riding that I do. So I think it fits the bill. I think it's it's good for everything. It's got great suspension, which is what I'm really wanting. I do have chronic back pain. Riding the bike doesn't seem to make it worse, but still, I want to get good suspension, and it's just kind of a big bike. That's the only drawback, but yeah, check out that bike. So I think that when I'm releasing my intention into the cosmos for manifestation, that's what I'm going to be visualizing. Except the one that he reviews is a very bright fluorescent yellow type of color, which I'm going to want an all black one. But it goes about 40 something miles an hour. I think it's like I said, I think it's like what the Wired Freedom was. It's 60 volt, 1500 watts. So you've got 1500 watts is a lot, but being that it's 60 volts, that's the thing, right? With a massive controller. So peaking at 3000 watts, that's a lot of power, and that's what I want. And that'll make it a lot more comfortable for me to ride in the street. I believe it has, I didn't watch the part where he's pedaling, but I know from past reviews I've seen with the Wired Freedom, the chain ring is substantial enough that you can still, that was one of the benefits of the e-cells bikes. You could be going 30 miles an hour and still be able to pedal without ghost pedaling. That's huge. That's the kind of thing that I'm looking for, and it has really, really nice suspension. Has I think it's front shocks, RST, and a D&M rear shock, step through frame. I can't remember how many amp hours the battery is. I'll have to go back and I'm going to start looking at it a little closer. I might have an opportunity to get a bike soon. Well, not soon, but in the next few months. That's what I'm putting out there, That's what I want to do. And that'll be timed right, like perfectly. I think hopefully by the time I have enough money to buy another bike, the channel, I'll be at 1,000 subscribers. Right now with YouTube, I just need to verify my identity, which I'm going to be able to do soon. The dog got its foot stuck in the leash. It was kind of weird. The dog had its foot stuck in the leash and the guy was just like walking away from his dog. I don't know, man. Wow, it looks beautiful out here, doesn't it? This guy hit in the eyeball again. The raindrop. People riding. This guy's rocking the dreadlocks. I've seen that guy slowly transform into a Rasta. So hopefully, I think I'm getting, there's probably going to be raindrops on the lens throughout this ride. Unfortunately, I didn't notice them. Might be. Hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah, I'm anxious to get something where I can start doing some off-road stuff, make these rides a little more exciting. It'd just be completely irresponsible for me to push this bike. You know, I already feel like it's really taking a beating by just riding it responsibly. Guy had a lot of stuff going on right there. Now those trailers that were parked over here are gone. It's a weird spot right here. Cold, man. It's cold again. Hopefully my camera's not pointing down too much. I feel like it might have been throughout the ride, but everybody knows. The only reason why I don't like that is I don't like the way this stem looks. It makes it look like I'm on a scooter. So I don't know if I talked about it in my last video that I published today, but speaking of scooters, John Hicks has his other channel called Just Hicks, like H-I-X, and he does reaction to like mountain bike videos, like mountain bike crash, just random stuff going on in LA, and just a kind of a variety of things. He's doing what do they call that, reaction videos to like e-bikes crashing. I talked about him, that video where there's like 1,000 mountain bikes in the what are they called, the Alps, the French Alps, and they race like down this snowy mountain and through the countryside. Anyway, he has a video that he reacted to recently about a guy who has one of those scooters, the 80-mile-an-hour scooters. So they're the fastest scooter that you can just buy, like as is, like right out of the box, can go 80. You know, it's like the fastest as that goes, you know, without any mods or special ordering or anything like that, just a mass-produced fast scooter. And he's in Texas, and he's gonna do a demo on that scooter and try to get up to that 80 miles an hour. And the guy's talking in the video, and he's an experienced rider, you know, he knows like what's going on. And he's on this frontage road next to the freeway, and he ends up going like he's on the frontage road, and there's too much traffic where he's not able to get up to that 80 miles an hour, and when he's not really paying attention to what he's doing, and he ends up on the freeway in Texas on a scooter. And I mean, it's not that intense, but if you just put yourself in this guy's shoes on a scooter, and being on a freeway on a scooter would just be just frightening to me. Anyway, I guess that's it for this ride. I know I did a lot of talking today. You know, try to mix it up a little bit. I don't feel like I talked a lot on my last video, and I felt that energy today, so just trying to do a little bit of commentary, and hopefully you guys find the video entertaining. And yeah, check out that wire cruiser, and let's manifest this thing for the channel. Really appreciate everybody watching my video, all the likes, the comments. If you haven't subscribed, there's still, I think, 41% of my regular viewers aren't subscribed. So if you like watching these videos, you can support me by just subscribing. There's no obligation. It doesn't cost money. I don't ask people to do memberships. I don't ask for money. I don't do any of that. I just but I would take a subscription. So appreciate everyone, and we will catch you on the next video.